This is our boat now. This is our boat. This Endeavour 32. It's ours.
Yeah.
Guess how much we paid for it?
Nothing.
$0.
Hey guys, so we've been getting a lot of feedback in regards to Freebie. If you're new to the channel, Freebie is our Endeavour 32 sailboat that, as you can probably guess from the name, we got for free. These comments have been along the lines of asking us how we got the boat, wanting us to elaborate on the story, or just amazement that there is actually a free, worthwhile boat out there. So because of the interest shown, we've decided to put together this video of some tips on how you might be able to come across a free sailboat of your own, or get into sailing as affordably as possible.
Now before we go into the tips, we wanted to mention that getting a free boat is actually really hard. It's really hard to find a worthwhile free boat, but they do exist. And then once you get it, it's actually gonna end up costing you most likely a lot of money and a lot of work on the back end. So it takes a certain type of person to actually take on the project of a free boat. So don't expect to just go out and get a free boat and then cross the Atlantic Ocean.
Now we're not saying that everybody can find a free boat. It does take a little bit of luck. But the funny thing about luck is, the harder you work and the more you put yourself out there, the luckier you'll become.
Now none of these tips include anything like inherit a yacht from a family member, because that's just not realistic for most people, and that's not what happened to us. We went out there and we actually worked for what we got, and we're continuing to work on that boat, and that's really what this channel is about, working towards your dream and doing whatever it takes to make it happen.
Tips 3 through 5 are really just easy and free ways for you to gain first-hand experience with boats, but could ultimately end up with you finding a worthwhile, free, or nearly free boat. And tips 1 and 2 are actual ways for you to get a free boat. All of these tips we've personally used and experienced ourselves. We're gonna start at tip number 5 and work our way to tip 1. Tip number 5, go to Salvage Yard.
Now this is probably the worst way to go about getting a free boat, but it does have some value because it'll show you what a free boat really is gonna look like. At least 99.9% of free boats are gonna look like this, and pretty much it will be a total disaster. Now you probably don't want to pick up any of these hulls at a salvage yard because the salvage yard probably pieced them out and sold off the parts, or all the parts are for sale in that same yard. So we learned all this when we actually toured that Irwin 52 in one of our previous videos, but that experience to us was really, really valuable, along with all of your guys' comments. Number 4, marinas.
This is more of a tip to just get you out there looking at boats. A lot of marinas nowadays have a for sale dock where you can go walk around and look at some of the options that are out there for you. It also allows you to go and talk to some of the boat owners at the marina. A lot of times what we found is that boat owners really like to talk about their boats, or just boats in general. So we've found that a lot of times you say, hey, that's a beautiful boat. That boat owner is going to tell you everything there is to know about that boat. And they might also be willing to tell you if they know someone willing to give up a boat, or if they're looking at selling their boat as well. It gives you a lot of options, and it lets you see some of the possibilities out there.
Now the problem with going to look at boats at marinas is actually a lot of marinas are locked, and you can't get in there if you don't actually own a boat or know someone with a boat. So if you know someone with a boat, have them let you in. Otherwise, if it's a large marina and they have a for sale dock, chances are they have a broker on site too. You can walk in and say, hey, I'm just here to look at some of the for sale boats, and they'll hand you a key to the marina, and then you can walk around the marina and look at whatever boat you want. So it's a good free way to get to look at potentially $1 million boats, and to really look at what you probably can't afford. And neither can we. So just an idea of how easily you can actually get into a locked marina during the day. I just went into the office of Harborage Marina, told them I wanted to look at boats, and they gave me a key in return for my ID. Make sure I didn't do anything stupid, obviously. But now I'm walking through the marina, walking by boats and looking at all these boats for sale. It's a really good, easy way for you to get an idea of size of boats and, you know, pretty much what you want. Obviously, you can't really go on any of them, but good idea to kind of walk the marinas like this.
Tip number 3, yacht clubs.
How do you get into sailing if you don't have a lot of extra money and you don't already have a boat and you don't know how to sail? I mean, sailing's a rich person's sport, right? Most local yacht clubs have some type of regular sailing race that the general public can actually join in for free. Now ours, the Davis Island Yacht Club in Tampa, has Thursday night races during the summer. Now all you have to do is show up, go talk to the person in charge, and they will assign you a boat. Now you meet your crew and you can go sailing for that night. The best thing about it is the next Thursday night, you don't have to be with the same crew if you don't want to. You can go on a different boat. So it's also a good way for you to learn different boats and the way different boats are sailed. So there's just so much good knowledge that you can literally get for free here. And that's the value in this tip. You can learn what boats you like, what boats you don't like. You can learn to sail, and you can also make the connections with these sailors that might actually lead towards something great, like maybe a boat that they have that they're just not using anymore, that they'll let you take. I wouldn't bank on the last part, but you never know. There's so much free knowledge that you can get from doing this that alone is the value here.
One tiny additional tip to go along with this tip is that you're often better received if you show up with a pack of beer or something to share with the rest of the crew on the boat.
Yep, every time we've done this, we've actually showed up with just a little cooler with at least a 6-pack of beer, and every single time it has been well received. Number 2, free-boat.com.
This is a website that's a listing of free or nearly free boats in the United States. We were actually made aware of this website through comments from viewers like you. Once we got a chance to peruse the site a little bit, we realized there is a lot of potential value in this. Every now and then you see some worthwhile boats listed on here, so it's worth checking frequently. And if you see something you like, don't hesitate. Finally, tip number 1, Craigslist.
Now this is ultimately the way we got freebies, so I know it works at least for us. Now, this is definitely anecdotal evidence at best, so it's not guaranteed to work for you, so just use that as a qualifier, but there's still some value here in what we have to say from our experience if you're looking for a free boat. Now, I have a problem. For about 2 years, I extensively searched all of Florida Craigslist for sailboats basically every single day, and I only found 2 worthwhile free boats. The first was actually an Island Packet 31, and Island Packets have a really good reputation for being proven blue water cruisers, great shoal draft, comfortable island boats as well. The only catch was it fell off its jack stands during Hurricane Irma, and one of the jack stands punched a hole through the hull, so it needed some fiberglass repair. The other thing was the mast actually fell down during the storm as well, so it needed to be repaired and the mast put back up. But aside from that, the engine ran, the boat actually was in really good shape. So we're not afraid of a little fiberglass work. We're not afraid of putting a mast back up. The previous owner had basically completed a full refit recently on that boat, so everything else was basically brand new. The engine only had like 100 hours on it. It was a Yanmar, it ran. Everything on the inside was great. The outside had been repainted. It was awesome.
Beautiful.
But there was one person that called before me, and they ultimately got the boat. I was too slow to actually reach out to this guy. After that experience of finding that Island Packet 31 and just barely missing getting it for free, I was even more diligent than ever before at looking for free boats. I probably checked 3 to 4 times a day on Craigslist for free boats, and lo and behold, about a month later, I found a free Endeavour 32 that was worthwhile. Now, it had a running engine that was replaced in 2004, only had 270 hours on it. It's a running Westerbeek 20B2. If you're familiar with that engine model, it had newer rigging also replaced in 2004. It had in-mast furling, and everything was there. All the electronics, everything pretty much at least turned on and worked. So I called the guy immediately. It was in Titusville, we are in Tampa. It was just across the state. Now, I talked to the guy on the phone, and he had a baby on the way and just didn't have the time to work on the boat anymore. He'd previously done a year before a full bottom job where he actually fixed the blisters, did a new barrier coat and new ablative paint on the bottom. So the bottom job that we were doing on Somnium was already done on this boat, so that was another plus. This guy just wanted to get rid of it. He didn't want the hassle anymore. He didn't have any time, didn't want to pay $400 a month to keep it in the marina for a boat that he just wasn't working on. He just saw the boat as like just a tumor or something that you just cut off your body and just let it be. Didn't want even to deal with selling it. So we set up a date 2 days later that weekend for Randy and I to go out and take a look. Now, we went out, ran the engine, and immediately signed the paperwork, and the boat was ours. Now, at that point, the previous owner let me know that there was about 50 people behind me that actually reached out to him after I reached out. Now, I reached out about 5 minutes after I saw the listing, which was basically 5 minutes after the listing was posted as well. So, in that respect, I got a little lucky. However, we put in a lot of work searching Craigslist to be able to find that so quickly.
So our advice here is that finding a worthwhile boat on Craigslist is definitely possible. But if you do happen to stumble upon one, don't wait, don't hesitate. Contact that owner right away. The opportunity only shows up every now and then, and they disappear just as quickly as they arrive. That being said, make sure that the boat has a working engine, has all the components, and be ready to do a survey before you do any extensive sailing.
I just wanted to say, in case it wasn't abundantly clear, don't go out and get a free boat and try to cross an ocean. We are not advising that at all. Also, I've never found a worthwhile free boat in the free section of Craigslist, ironically. The free boats that I found that have been worthwhile were always in the for sale section. And what I actually did was I knew the boat makes that I liked, i.e. Endeavour, Island Packet, I would look up Halber Rossi, etc. Pearson, and I would just type that into the search bar, and I would include nearby areas in the Craigslist search. This way that all of Florida was being covered. And what would come up was typically between 5 to 10 boats of each make, sometimes 2 or 3, sometimes 0. And what happened was an Island Packet came up listed for $0, and for the Endeavour 32, the title was actually Free Sailboat Endeavour 32 and listed for $0 again.
Lastly, if you're willing to drive a good distance, sites like SearchTempest.com will do a nationwide Craigslist search for you. We didn't actually have any experience with this because we weren't willing to travel out of state, but if you're willing to make that drive, then that is a good resource for you.
Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it and found something useful, be sure to leave a like. And if you have a question or just generally want to make a comment, leave a comment down below. We'll be sure to respond to every single comment in the next week or so, maybe even a little bit longer. We try our best when the videos are brand new to respond to pretty much everything.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button to follow along with our journey with our free Endeavour 32. Ring the bell after you subscribe to get notifications of when we upload new videos. Thanks.
I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a little